I'm getting my shop organized with a super awesome DIY French cleat wall. Today I'm going to show you how and why you should build one.
In this 3D model, you can see that the cleats are mounted equally spaced to a backer board with a 45-degree angle cut out facing upwards. And then, a corresponding cleat will go in the opposite direction, locking itself into place. Cleats can be mounted to virtually anything.
One of the best parts of using French cleats in your garage is that the setup is completely modular, meaning you can take and move anything anywhere you want at any point in time. Something like this. Or this.
After a quick trip down to the Home Depot to spend way too much money on plywood, we ended up getting one sheet of 3/4 inch plywood and 2 sheets of 1/2 inch plywood for this project. I went ahead and ripped my 3/4 inch plywood down into 2 pieces to make it easier over on the table saw. Don't worry, if you don't have a table saw, I'm going to show you how you can cut your cleats out using a circular saw. Here I cut all my 3/4 inch plywood down to 4 1/8 inch strips. We set the table saw to 45 degrees and then began laying out where we were going to make our cut. By finding the halfway point on our strips, and then marking a 45-degree angle. This is the line that we're going to go through and cut all the cleats at. It was a lot of cutting. To cut these out with a circular saw, you would set your circular saw fence to 45 degrees. Then go through and rip out a 2.5 inch piece. After that, set your fence back to 0 degrees and cut another 2.5 inch. Continue this process to create all of your cleats. I chose to knock the sharp edge of all my cleats off, but this is totally optional. With all the cleats cut out, we gave them each a quick sanding, and then we were ready for assembly. To attach the cleats to the backer board, I spread some wood glue along the inside edge, making sure not to get it too close to the inside so we didn't have squeeze out. Then I went through with my brad nailer and attached it in place. Using a spacer board allowed me to quickly move up the rows while keeping everything even. We had to move quickly here because I wanted to flip the board upside down and attach the cleats from the back using screws while the glue was still wet. I spaced my cleats at 5.5 inches, but what you decide to use is totally up to you. Alternatively, you could screw straight through the cleats and backer board into the studs to attach them. After giving the glue a few hours to dry, I got to work on hanging them on the wall. Here I'm building a piece to go in between the two above the window. Now the funnest part was to get to work building some hangers. These can be extremely simple or intricate. Let your imagination run wild here. What I did in that clip right there is I put a piece of scrap plywood down at the bottom underneath the cleat, and you're gonna have to do that if what you're mounting isn't long enough to ride on other cleats, because the weight will actually tip inwards, causing it to fall off the wall. With that done, this build is complete. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe for future content.